Welcome to ComeonyespursTV. Today we are doing a match preview of the match between Tottenham and Chelsea taking place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday at 4:30. Sunday. What day is Sunday again? Is it the 25th of March? No, it's actually the 26th of March. Yes, that's 26th of March. So yeah, with me today, I've got in the studio, I've got Chuma. Chuma is, I call him in-house encyclopedia of Spurs. But in the meantime, I just say, come on, ye Spurs. Right. Welcome back. This is Come On You Spurs TV. With me, I've got Chuma. Chuma, welcome. How are you?
Oh, I'm super good, super blessed. And in typical Nigerian fashion, I have to add an extra title to myself. I'm not the Encyclopedia of Spurs, the Encyclopedia of World Football. Let's get that.
Let's
World
go.
football, not just Spurs.
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But it's everything about Spurs, right? So because if you're here for the first time, this is Come On You Spurs TV. Subscribe to our channel. Please go and hit the subscribe button. And if you also want to get to know when videos go live or release, click on the notification bell bar or button at the bottom of your screen. Of course, like the page or like the channel, and of course, leave your comments as well. So yes, now that we've done the housekeeping bit, there's so much to talk about, isn't it? I mean, we haven't been here for a while, and in that time, a lot has happened. A lot has happened. Where do we start, Chuma? Tell me, where do we make a start? I mean,
well,
someone.
well, 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 on a personal level, I cut my hair. I was growing my hair from September, and ever
Okay.
since I cut my hair, Spurs have started winning. Coincidence? I think not.
Okay. Keep cutting, please.
Yeah, I cut my hair. I cut my hair, and Emerson has turned into primetime Cafu. I mean, what else can I expect? Davis has turned to Roberto Carlos Jr. I mean, it's like the world has just flipped on itself.
It's happy days, happy days. I mean, it's like, Spurs transformed in, but I think, all right, so the last time we were here, I think it's been a while since we've been here, but we had a big win against City, good match, and then we go to Leicester and we perform like lemons. I mean, what happened there?
That I think that was that's Leicester is also the city where a certain Olympic god called Zeus lives in. So I think somewhere along the line,
Ah,
Zeus
he
jinxed
must
that
have
game.
have had an influence on proceedings at the time, has it?
Mr.
Mm.
Zeus, shout out to Zeus. Zeus jinxed that game somewhere somehow. I don't know how he did it in Leicester.
Right. So
I'm sure it was when in
we
Leicester
blame
top.
Zeus for this one. This week.
We blame Zeus for Leicester. Anything that happens in Leicester is Zeus's fault. It's all his
Okay.
fault. If he's listening, he can DM me after.
Anyway, so yeah, we had the unfortunate ignominy of having letting 4 goals in. Well, we let 4 goals in against City, but I mean, away in the away match. But again, we'll probably put that down to sort of so many things. But this was an abject performance in every sense of the word, in that match. But we're not doing the Leicester match today. We're doing the Chelsea against Tottenham preview, and it's taking place to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. Now, we haven't had a good record against Chelsea in a very long time. I mean, they've kind of had this bit of a hoodoo over us in the past. There's a point when things started to get better, we started to beat them maybe a bit more often under Pochettino. But again, we seem to have sort of reverted to type, if you like. The last 4 matches, if I recall, I think they probably have won. I mean, 3 of those, or we had 1 draw. So it hasn't been a happy hunting ground for us when it comes to playing against Chelsea, even at home or away. I mean, the last time we beat them was when we had Dele Ali and I think Son destroyed them at Wembley, if I recall.
Ericsson. Yeah,
So
and Ericsson played. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I said
so
Ericsson played as well. And yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
it's been a while.
it's been a while since we've had one over them. So yes, it's about time we did them over this time. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do.
what
I
are
do.
our
I think it's
chances?
just been well, there's a word that does the rounds called Doctor Spurs.
Doctor Seuss.
And then another game we didn't talk about was the Milan game, and we Doctor Spurs Milan because
Right.
AC Milan have been going through a rough time of it. They've conceded like 4 or 5 goals per game. Then they get to Spurs and they win 1-0. In fact, not just win 1-0, they could have won by more if we're going to be brutally honest about our team.
Yeah, but at
And
the same time, though, let's
it's
also,
just
also
like, yeah,
let's also be fair, though. I keep thought they gave a good performance, even though we didn't score. It wasn't like we were completely overrun. Okay, they had chances as well. I mean, don't
we
get me
went
wrong.
overrun, but they had 3 or 4 chances that
Yes, they had.
those things have
I've
gone
gone.
in, right?
It would have been abject.
You
Yes,
know,
I
but
totally
we would
agree.
have scored. We would have scored goals as well. Yeah, we would have
Absolutely.
scored goals as well. That's
Yeah,
fair. That's
yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, and then we come into this game after the West Ham game. I think a lot of people thought West Ham were going to take points off us. I think a lot of Spurs fans were resigned to that. And even without looking, if you look at the game in its full thing, I've watched that game like twice since the game. Like it was actually a kind of a very front foot performance by Tottenham. There was more
yes,
pressing. They were now going at them. Like, we talked about Emerson. And one of the things I always say about like playing a wing back system is the wing backs have to make sure they are as close to the midfield as possible so they can create the numbers. But if they are behind, that means the other club are on top of us. And West Ham went on top of us as such. They made some chances. They created some chances. They tried to get in behind. But Spurs were front foot. Spurs were on them. It was just a matter of taking certain chances. There were chances that fell in the first half as well, like many chances with Charlison, things, the handball that wasn't, all these things where it was really good. And Chelsea, on the other hand, it's like, you know, and if we trace back the history of this show, Come On Ye Spurs, Potter was on my list. I had a list of like managers. I said, look, if they came to Spurs, I don't think it would be a problem for them. Now, as good as I thought he would be for Spurs, he has been really horrible for Chelsea. He it's that whole thing of the coach, his level not being a particular club, and I think his level isn't Chelsea. He's not a Chelsea guy.
yeah.
I don't think he has that
Let's look
thing.
at that just for a bit. I mean, if we look at the form book, so far for both teams, I mean, in the league, I mean, you kind of see to yourself, what is going on? I mean, look at Chelsea. I mean, if you have a look at this, let's have a look. Okay, that's Tottenham's form guide on the left, and that's Chelsea's form guide on the right, and those
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
tell you the loss. Red is loss, and green is win, right? And yellow is draws, right? For Tottenham, we've lost the last three out
yeah,
of our last 6 matches, and we won three. We don't do draws in Tottenham. Sorry, you know.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
well, with Chelsea,
Facts.
I mean, we're talking about the league here. This is the league we're talking about here. All right. So they've lost two, won only one of the last 6 matches, and the others have been draws. Now that
Yeah, yeah,
that can be a good thing, can it? Really? I mean, for a club that
yeah,
has spent so
yeah.
much
But if
money,
you're
for a club that has spent, I mean, tons
spent
and tons
spent
of money.
spent 200 million in the summer and spent another 300 million plus in January.
It's,
And
I mean,
to me, I
it's
think they have the best young attacking potential in the league. All the players they bought this January are young boys that I have gone, wow, it'd be good to have this guy. It'd be good to have Modric. It'd be good to have Enzo Fernandez. But the thing is, if you watched Potter at Brighton, Brighton's biggest problem was good football but no end product. That was
yeah,
always his issue. His drawback was he could hold you. And so they were drawing games, but with Brighton, draws are okay for them because it gives them that 1 point they don't lose. But when you get to Chelsea, there's something I always remember Jose Mourinho saying that a draw is no good to me. Either I win or I lose, because if I win, I get 3 points. If I lose, I get 0. But if I draw, I only get 1. So it's better for me to try and win than to try and draw. And I'm looking at this Chelsea side. His biggest issue is he has a striker in Aubameyang. Love Aubameyang or loathe Aubameyang is a goal scorer. And if nothing else, if you create a system where you put him as a striker, it allows your attacking midfielders play. But now he has pure attacking midfielders that are trying to get used to themselves, and they are new players as well. And then he dropped Sterling for a while, and Sterling was the difference in the last game, even though they lost. Sterling was the only one. So you look at him and he doesn't know what his best side is. He doesn't know what formation to use. He doesn't know if he's front foot, and he doesn't. But as a Spurs fan, in the back of your mind is, yeah, all this is true. But when they meet Spurs,
They kind
it
of
goes out. So
switch back on.
I'm just, I'm saying all of this, saying that,
Switch back on.
as much as I'm saying this, like, yeah, they're literally there for the taking. If I, to be honest, they're there for the taking, Chelsea. However, knowing our history with them, I look at the game and I go, well, anything can happen. But there's so many factors that are against us as well. Conte isn't present, which some say is actually a good thing. I've been reading online that maybe Conte not being around is actually good, because when the players to the side and see him, they go more defensive. Now they're like, he's not here to shout, so let's just do our thing. I heard that there's a conspiracy theory there that Conte is absent, and I said, okay, then how does that explain last season and the run?
I know, right? So I
He
mean,
was
that's
there throughout the run where we were
exactly.
winning,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
man.
So,
It's
but that's where
it's
people are. Everyone's running their agenda,
yeah. But okay, so
you know.
I mean,
And yeah,
this
but
there's this incredible level of negativity that some seems to be pervading the whole of the Spurs world at this point in time, right? And it's got so many what I call either conspiracy theories, negative agenda against the club, against the board. Conte is not signing a contract. Harry Kane is leaving. Everything just seems to be like one negative story after the other. And the team is not playing well. Bellini is a better coach than Conte. I mean, I just was thinking to myself, where does all of this come from, right?
Stellini is literally on his mobile phone during the game to Conte. So
This is it,
you know, you know what I mean. It's like Conte is actually calling the game from his house.
Absolutely.
So I find it interesting. You know,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what. Let's just sum it up in one simple thing. Arsenal are top of the league and looking like they're going to win. That's all. That's actually Spurs' problem. That, like I said, I worked it out. I told you that for those common you Spurs nation, I am supposedly in the dark side now. My nickname on the Nigerian Spurs forum is
It's
Darth Vader.
that Vader.
I'm on the dark side of. I'm now Darth Vader. I'm rebelling against everything. But however, I went out with some Chelsea fans. You know, ironically, about a week ago, and they sat me down and they were like basically explaining things, and we worked out. They have the same problem. Arsenal are on top. They could say, "Oh, we're in transition." They said, "But yeah, we're paying back, but these Arsenal are on top." And it makes all our problems look horrible that Arsenal are on top. So it's the same thing with Spurs. If Tottenham were top three, Arsenal were sixth or seventh, and all these things are happening, nobody will say anything. But the mere fact Arsenal are where they are, Arsenal have been consistent for most of the season up until Apple crumble February as they always do.
Will come February.
Even though they won the last game was close. Like if
Yeah.
they had lost this last game, I felt that their championship hopes would have been dead. That was my view. Once they won this game against Villa, so that's what's hurting Tottenham fans. Tottenham fans also feel in a season where Chelsea and Liverpool have dropped behind. If only Spurs had played well or consistent or all these different things, their belief is Spurs will be up there challenging. And the club should have bought better players. But nobody complained when we bought the players in the summer. We were all celebrating,
Absolutely.
doing business early. We did
Absolutely.
business early for the first. We got players that fit positions that we said they needed to fit. And they were saying, oh, well, Then they later changed their mind. Oh, Longley wasn't what we wanted. We wanted a left centre back. We wanted a striker. We wanted, and we got those positions. You got another central. Bissouma was celebrated. Unfortunately, things don't work out how they should. You don't always get what you want. But funnily enough, everyone says the same thing. As bad as Spurs have been, we are back to top four ahead
Honestly,
of
it's
Newcastle. If Newcastle lose,
which
you
which
get,
which is actually which is actually
you know,
unbelievable when you think about it, right? As bad as we've been in
unbelievable.
quote, right? It's like who would have thought this? Who would have thought that we will be still top four at this point in the season when everything seems to be like collapsing? It's unreal, unreal.
And we have suffered. Another thing we are not really conscious of. It's not an excuse, but it's a real fact. We have suffered a horrible spate of injuries since the
Yeah,
start
yeah,
of the
we have.
season.
We really have. Yeah, we
Richarlison has
have.
been in injury. Son's facial injury affected him. I believe that facial injury really affected him. He,
Yeah,
he downplays it, but it did. And he lost his form. True. Then you've had, Benton got injured, came back, and now he's long term. Kulusevski, our creative outlet, injured, came back, went back, injured again, came back again, and now he's here again. So many different things happened during the course of this season that you know, it makes it very, very challenging to sort of see and to say, hey, how good is this or how bad, But throughout the whole thing, Conte has been good. Uh, Conte has lost, his friend that was his coach. So many things. There's so many traumatic things that have happened in and around Spurs this season, and in spite of all this, once again, like you said, top four. And at
yeah.
the
I
start of
mean,
the season, we said minimum just stay top four.
it's
We
been
didn't
a
anticipate Arsenal. Once again, like I said, Arsenal going on top killed us
yeah. It's been a
as a
bit of
fan
a,
base.
bit of a bizarre season in many levels. I mean, like you said, Conte has been ill. Had his gallbladder surgery, which I thought he shouldn't have come back as quickly as he did, but he did come back. I thought that was quite strange coming back so quickly because it's keyhole surgery in most cases. Where I don't know what sort of procedure was used in his own case, but I mean. But coming back so quickly, I thought to myself, it's not something that you kind of expect to happen so quickly, but it did. I thought, that's strange, but I mean, I'm not surprised that he's been asked to stay back and get back to full fitness. So in a way, I mean, like you said, it kind of frees us or frees the boys and from the shackles of having him on the side and being able to express themselves a little bit more. And I mean, hopefully, I mean, it's had a positive impact, if you like, and like they're playing for Conte while he's away and hoping that he gets back um, safe and well. Now, but if we look at our team in terms of form, when we consider what has happened in the past against Chelsea, right? I mean, this season we played away. Everyone expected us to lose. They were all over us like a
Mm-hmm.
rash, and they scored what? I think the end game ended up 2-2, didn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Um, when Hurricane scored a late goal towards the end, and
Yeah.
I mean, no one gave us a chance in that game, but somehow like, we managed to sort of conjure something from that game. I thought, that's interesting. Now, to Sunday's match has the battle is going to be fought on many levels. For me, now our
Mm.
right side with Romero, our newfound Cafu, Mr. Emerson,
Cafu.
and
Cafu.
and
Cafu.
Kulusevski have been deadly. I mean, when they're on form, it sort of makes it very very difficult for teams. And so yeah, I think we're coming back into getting the team back up. But okay, like I said, we had injuries. We still have injuries to Bentancur that is still having an effect. Of course, we're having to bring in the young one of the two young men. Going back to the match against AC Milan, we had to play Skip and Tsar, and they gave a really good account of
Which,
themselves.
which they were brilliant.
Yeah,
They
they
were
were
absolutely
absolutely
brilliant.
brilliant
They
in
were.
that game. And
Really good. I appreciated him so
what I
much. Yeah.
also really appreciated about Skip in the last game was that he picked up a yellow card very early in the game, but he played with such maturity and composure that he was in no
Yes.
danger of being a getting another yellow card or being sent off or coming in the right shackle. So he just sort of played a really well measured game. You know, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. You know, it did. I mean, it gave me a lot of confidence. I mean, if I based on performances so far this season, right? I'll have gone for Sign in the middle with Hoiberg, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
thought Skip gave a really good account of himself, you know. He really justified his place in that match, you know. And that was quite pleasing for me. So what did you think?
I thought for me with Skip, right? I looked at it and I said, like, same as you. Everybody online said Sir Hoiberg, Sir Hoiberg. I did like I checked several sites. I say everyone, but when he played Skip, I've always said this about Skip, and you know I've been a huge champion of Skip for years.
Yeah,
Skip is a defensive midfield player who can play center midfield player, but there are some center midfield players that play defensive midfield. So it's two different things, but people can't see that distinction. A center midfield player that can play defensive midfield means he's more forward moving, but he can just maintain the position.
yeah.
Bentancur is a center midfield player that you can play defensive midfield with him. But Skip is more defensive midfield, but I can step forward a bit, but I can't step forward too much. You watch him when he gets into the attacking third. He's not really that good.
It's not really
He's
that
not good
sure. Yeah,
shooting,
yeah.
but he just knows how to. Exactly. Harry Winks was the same as well. Harry Winks is a defensive midfield player. Meanwhile, on the side note, Harry Winks is playing wonderfully well in Sampdoria. For those
So
of you fans who are
apparently
interested,
so. Apparently so. Apparently, I hear the
he
Sampdoria
is
fans
he is he
adore
is
him.
loved. They're not winning games. Yeah, they're not winning games. But my goodness, Harry Winks is playing. You know the game against Real Madrid, which is the huge thing we keep talking about for years. He dined
Yeah,
out on that Real Madrid game. Um, he's doing that for he's doing that for Sampdoria on a daily
week in week
basis.
out.
But Skip, yeah, Skip is doing the same. Like Skip in this West Ham game, Skip's movement, it allowed Hoiberg just do that thing where Hoiberg could just lace passes and try and, get forward a bit more. Like Skip was covering so much ground in that game. And especially, like you said, after the yellow card, you think a player now tones down. He didn't tone down. He became even more action.
Yeah,
But this time, instead of like tackling, he was anticipating
facing
faster.
moves. Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it was brilliant. His passing was just nice, short when it had to be, long when it had to be, spread when it had to spread. And he was really, and it's thing we've been saying for so long. The real problem you have when you have a squad of like 25 players and all that is you can't give everybody a chance. You have to have Hoiberg and Bentancur work well together. So that means everybody else suffers. These players, if you give them 5, 6 games, there's no doubt that they will not turn up,
But this is it.
eventually.
This
And
is it.
Skip
So
needed this. I think that game against Milan,
yeah,
the responsibility on
which is
him
what
and Sarr. And I think in a weird way, he's older than Sarr. Yeah, go ahead.
which is where coaches always say to players, right? Be patient. You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance, right? Now, it may not necessarily be as a result of injury, or it may just say, "Oh, let me just give
Mm,
this guy a chance in the particular match. Maybe it's a cup match, But in most cases, people get the chances through a variety of circumstances. It could be injury to the player, it could be a change in system, it could be some unfortunate freak accident or something happens during a match, and you need to have one more person. And okay, you go and give up, and it has a way of changing players' trajectory. And there's so many stories of people who have had their whole, what you might call, trajectory change from a substitution appearance in a match, and then that's it. Or they get a chance in a match, and they're going to give a good account of themselves, and that's it. So that redemption story is so sweet when you hear it.
it is.
With a lot of
Yeah,
young
it is.
people. And
It is.
I like Sa. And the reason I like Sa is this, right? He's very calm. For a young head, look at him. If you look at him, he's 20. He he's like a kid, If you have you seen him? He's like a
He's,
boy
he's,
of the
he's grown.
streets.
So the thing about it, he's grown taller. When I
Yeah.
watched him at Mets last year, he's not as tall. But the thing I love about Sarr, and I don't know if other Spurs fans watching this, is like that guy has so much upside as to what he can become. Because right now, he's Patrick Vieira when Vieira first arrived at Arsenal. Vieira was just this defensive midfield guy that dispossess and pass. But
Listen,
there was so much more to Patrick
I
Vieira.
actually think that
And
Mr. Sarr will exceed Vieira, you know, because I
no,
think
no.
we have
So,
the, I
so
think,
yeah. So I'm getting to that. I think Yaya Toure, and I'm so happy Yaya Toure is in the club because I would love for him to have one-on-one sessions with Yaya Toure, explaining do this, do this, do this. Because Yaya Toure started as a defensive midfield player, turned to a central midfield player, became an attacking midfield player. He just became everything because and I see it in this guy. I see he's very tidy. His tackles are very clean. He presses well. He just puts his leg at the right moment. I'm like,
and he can
if
anticipate.
this
He knows
guy
how to
can add, and
anticipate as well,
he's
you
tried
know,
one or two.
and he can read the game.
Yes, he tried one or two long range shots. Yes, one or two, and he looks like I understand now why as much as you can say dark side. I turned on Conte. I can understand why Conte was like, no, he's not going on loan. You can't send this boy on loan because
Yeah, we need him.
like
We
he's
need him.
useful. And now,
Yeah,
thank goodness we didn't send him out on loan
yeah.
because here with all our central midfield injuries now, he stepped to the fore. Someone who might surprise a lot of people. I'm hoping he does. I'm hoping he gets a shot. Maybe not in this game. The young lad, Alfie Devine, has been training with the senior team. He also did
Okay.
not go out on loan. He was meant to go out on loan as well. He didn't go out on loan. That Alfie Devine is another one for the books. People should watch out. That boy is a very good midfield player.
Really,
Very, very good. Someone so young. And, Mourinho played him in that cup game against Marine. He scored. It wasn't a fluke. The boy he's gifted. Like when he left Wigan lost him and another player from that went to Leeds, a guy called Joe Geldhart. Two of them are the best young kids that have come out of Wigan in years. And the boy is he's on it. So Spurs have a very good cluster,
talent,
of, like a
talent.
nucleus of young players. If they grow together and they are coached the
No,
right way,
I keep getting
it's something to behold.
this rhetoric behind the scenes of people saying, "Oh, Spurs don't develop players." Skip was from the academy, wasn't he? Skip was
Yes,
developed
he
from the
was.
academy. You know, Divine, like you said, is uh, I'm thinking to myself, okay, fine, but it's not.
The Vine was bought into the academy. He was bought into the academy, but he's still a young player that's come through the youth. He's played
Yeah,
under 18s, played under 23 football as well for Spurs. So yeah, he's won in the academy. There are guys there, there's some boys there. Like I said, it's just will they ever get a chance? And if they got a chance and like you said, is this run? Someone the other day was like a friend of mine was trying to like come at me because people like Troy Parrott and the rest of them. I said, look, Troy Parrott is a very good player. It's just opportunity, time and chance. If you read the Bible says the time and chance happens to all men. It's just taking that
absolutely.
opportunity when you have the chance, and if you get it run. If Kane if particular season Kane had been injured for X amount of time and Mourinho had played Parrott and Mourinho didn't play him, not because Mourinho was wicked, but Mourinho was like, no, I'd rather play a senior player or whatever. But if some other managers, like you look at someone like a Ten Hag or someone at Ajax, teams like Ajax, they can just afford to play a 17-year-old up front.
Yeah,
And that becomes how many players have we seen Ajax blooding at 16, 17 that just become, Clarence Seedorf and Clivert, they just become at 17 because they got the responsibility. In
very
England,
early
it's
doors.
much more
Yes,
difficult because, as we know,
yes.
they will turn on the manager. If the manager played Troy Parrott 10 games in a row, Spurs fans would want to rip the teeth out. So, all our platforms would be ablaze that he has scored no goals in 12 matches. What's wrong with this idiotic manager? You forget all the good things the manager has done. He's an idiot. So you look at that and you look at, but with Sarr and Skip in that Milan game, because I've been watching Milan's midfield scared me. And I said, if these guys dominate us in midfield, we're looking at seven. We're looking at 7 goals here because those guys and these boys were just
On it.
excellent.
They were on
Pressed
it.
right,
They were
collected the
on it.
ball.
They were on
Sarr
it.
just kept on nicking the ball off people and moving it. And I was like, oh, and in that game, it's one of those games where if our forward line had turned up in a certain way, would have just
Yeah,
nicked 2, 3 goals and walked away. You
yeah.
And we'll see what happens with the home leg. But yeah, but regarding this Chelsea match, Skip playing alongside Hoybell, love him or loathe him, he's Marmite. You can love him sometimes, you can hate Marmite. It depends on how you're. But that defense splitting pass to
To
Davies
Ben
against
Davies
West Ham,
that
that was
that
excellent.
was an excellent
That was an
piece of
excellent
play.
pass.
That was an excellent piece of play, and
That
I think
that is vision.
yeah, yeah, it was through the eye of a needle.
It's kind of like what I wanted to see more of. Yeah, I want to see more of it. That's my thing. But herein lies the interesting fact is I think people did compilations on Twitter. You're on Twitter, so you've seen it. Where they said, well, he's done it before. He's been doing it. It's just
Yeah,
that you're not giving him credit for it.
yeah,
He's been doing it. Like if you look at his compilation since he's arrived, he's putting some wonderful through balls to players. But I
yeah.
think sometimes he's quite hesitant at doing it.
Yeah,
That's what gets to me, and that's the
and
difference for
I
me.
think
Why?
one of the things you find about Horiberg's game, what he says is like my match is like you find he tries to do something that they don't come off, and when they don't come off, they look really horrible. You think to yourself, why you been doing that, you know? And which is why it's sort of been
Exactly.
conservative in executing some things, you know. But when they come off really, really good. They come off really good, you know. And that's the beauty of football, isn't it? You know. And I always say to people,
It is. It is.
when
It
you're
is.
winning games, nobody remembers any of the rubbish. You know, it's when you don't win games, then people remember that oh he didn't pass well in 1944 or in 1899. You know, it was horrible. Why did we have him? You know, that's
No, no, it is. It is. Yeah.
you know, it's just
Winning. They say winning cures all ills.
yeah,
Every ill feeling
yeah.
you've ever had, winning
It's like
cures it.
money. They say
So
money answers all
it's
things. You know,
much the same.
it's it's, it's
Money has a. There you go. Same.
you know. So it's like what I mean,
But yeah, but
Chelsea. But it's not answering it for Chelsea, but just now, but it will. If we get that, you know.
I mean, Chelsea right now. Chelsea have, like I said, they have wonderful players, like wonderful players that any other side would have loved to have them. But I think one, they got them at the wrong time. Like they're all trying to learn each other in January, February. That you don't do that. You buy one player or two players max in January that will try and blend themselves. You don't buy like five or six and try to get
And
them
I think
in.
therein
It's
lies
crazy.
the thing. Sometimes if you have too much money, you don't know what to do with it. You know because yeah, no, seriously, because if you're spending nearly £600 million over two transfer windows, I mean, you should have world beaters. That should like, I mean, people always say that. Okay, fine. If we had money, we'll buy players. It's Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea is a classic example of having money and you're not getting the result they're looking for. You know.
And Everton, number two, Everton.
There you go.
Let's not forget.
So
Everton has spent close to 600 million.
wow,
Well, look at them. Look at us.
wow. So
So
all those
Moshiri
people
has
having
spent the money.
all those people having a go at Mr. Lever sometimes. I just say to them, you should be please let's be careful what we wish
He,
for.
he had a he had a he had he issued himself a pay rise yesterday. Did you have you read
Well,
that?
it's a modest pay rise if you ask me. 500,000 pounds for for someone who's done so much. I just think it deserves it. You know, I think it deserves it. You know, okay. Someone say, oh, he should only get it if
When I
he win
saw
a
that,
trophy.
I just said more fuel to the fire. Now he's giving himself an extra £500,000.
I
I
know.
said, oh my god, fans are going to say, for what?
That's not even
For what are you giving yourself the
up
money for?
to what Mr. What's his name ends in a week.
Oh,
Haaland, according to reports, you know. Anyway,
yeah.
so yeah, I think one of the
But
things
it's
we're looking at this season is where do we go from here? You know, the next match for us against Chelsea, tough match by all means. It's going to be a very tough match for us, but I think something that we can win. If we're going to sort of do like score predictions, what would you say? I mean, this match. Let's get to the nitty gritty of it.
um, I kind of view it. I view it as the West Ham match. I expected at worst a draw from West Ham. That's what I expected. I expected a draw, and at the same time, I felt we could beat West Ham. So I expect a draw because London derbies to me are always form goes out of the window because people are fighting for pride, London pride. So I look at Chelsea as they wouldn't want to lose to Spurs. They also know that they have history about beating us. So that's going to be drummed into their heads that, yeah, we don't lose here. Spurs players are also thinking Chelsea take points off us. So I'm going for, I actually think a draw, but I would not be surprised if Spurs win and win the same way we beat West Ham, where we just come into the game and then, take off from there. At the back of my mind, I just have this feeling that we could also be out of sight in the first half. I don't know why. Something in my head tells me that, but I'm going I'm going on the fence more or less. I'm gonna go draw. I'm gonna go draw. Exciting draw. I don't think Spurs will be behind, but yeah, I'm going draw, but looking out for a win. But draw because it's Chelsea, and Chelsea just have this habit. It's just a nasty thing, and it's them and us. It's always that. So
Yeah.
I'm going to draw.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm gonna go for a Spurs win, as I always do. Yeah.
I've actually missed this. The eternal optimist.
I know, right?
I forgot who I was talking to.
I go for a Spurs win, and it's four reasons, and I'll tell you why. What the reason?
Okay. Okay. Good.
So
Good.
it revived Emerson on the right hand side, right? Which Kulusevski is coming back into his own, and that can only be a good thing. We've got very, very good competition between Son now and Richarlison. Son knows that he can go on the bench, so he has this new. So on our good day, when our front three are on the right footing, we are irrepressible. That team is unplayable when we're on a good footing. And Holberg is playing out of his
Agree.
skin, you know. And so everything points to me as a solid platform, to build for a good win. And Romero, for me, is an absolute beast. He's a monster. And okay, so he has
Yeah,
this.
he's been amazing.
It's crazy tackles that he goes in for, but those tackles for me, they send a message to the guy on the other side. Don't mess with me because
No, no, it does. It does.
don't mess with me. I'm gonna
The
break your
Haaland
leg.
one. We haven't spoken. We haven't spoken since Man City. The Haaland tackle.
Yeah,
That Haaland tackle, I think, mentally killed Erling Haaland. He
yeah.
went for him and flattened him and said, "This is
So,
what's going to happen
this
to
is
you
what's
all
going to
night.
happen to
Get
you
used to
if you
being on
come
your
here.
ass."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like Haaland kept on avoiding him. Haaland would do a kick, touch and turn. I was watching it. I was like, I can't believe that Erling Haaland is like this guy has bullied Haaland.
Yeah,
And
put
then
the
of course,
fear of the
then the
ball
flip
into
side was
him.
yeah, the Leicester
And
game. Everything he
and
go.
and what he does is that he does it in every game. I don't even know if you notice it. He will put in one big strong challenge. And
Do you
okay,
remember? Do you remember? Sorry for cutting. Do you remember FA Cup final 1988? For those young people out there, go and Google it. In the first 5 minutes of the game, Steve McMahon it was Liverpool Wimbledon. Crazy Gang won the FA Cup, and the first 5 minutes of the game, Steve McMahon had the ball and was turning in midfield, and Vinnie Jones
Billy
came
Jonas.
and cleared him out. It wasn't a tackle, it was a clear out, and it set the tone for the match. And then the referee didn't do anything. And then years later, they did this Crazy Gang documentary on, I think it was on Channel 4, ITV or something. And Vinnie Jones said, I knew from history that in the FA Cup final, the referees do not give cards in the first 10 minutes. So I put in that tackle knowing that he'll go, hey, Vinny, don't do that again. But knowing that the Liverpool players have seen me take out their hardest. Steve McMahon was, as you know, was a hard man. I've taken out their hardest guy. This is what we're going to do to you guys all night. And Liverpool players did not want
That's
it.
yeah. They were up for
So
it.
I look at Romero sometimes, and if you look at the timing, he times his tackles first 8 minutes, first
Yes.
8, 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
he knows that once he does that, the referee warns him, hey, don't do that again.
Yeah.
But he has damaged your best player. At that point, he's done something to say, I've gotten you,
Okay.
or he will tackle you and talk to you, do
You
something to get in your
get
head.
into the head.
It's been
Yes.
beautiful. And then also the move of Davies to left wing back, I think it was a good move. I know there are some Davies haters and detractors, in the Spurs group. Like I said, I've told everyone from that guy is the guy teams build their squads on. He's a squad guy that everybody comes in, managers, they will never
It's
get rid
Mr.
of him.
Reliable.
And
It's
I've
Mr.
been proven right.
Reliable. You know,
Yes, he
it's
just does the job. He's a 7/10 guy. He does his 7/10, any position you play him in. You may hate him, you may say he hasn't done anything spectacular, but he's done his 7. And I think Longley plays good knowing that he's there because Perisic goes too far forward when Longley plays. And Longley now has to bring the ball out. With Davies can bring the ball and take it forward himself because he's played left back. He's played left center back. But Perisic is still thinking like a left winger a lot. Defensively this season, as you know, Perisic has been caught out. That's the only complaint we have of Perisic. Perisic has given us like 9, 10 assists. Wonderful. But defensively, we all knew it that it was going to be a problem defensively for Perisic. And it has been. He's been a liability defensively. That's something you can't label as much as you want against Emerson. Emerson, for me, I've always said it that he's a right back. He knows how to defend. It is the attacking part that has always frustrated me. And defensively, I've always said it that I even think he can play with his size, he can play right center back in an emergency better than Davison Sanchez or any of these guys. And I would put Romero in the middle. I don't mind putting Romero in the middle and Emerson Royal on right center back. This is just me or my mind. I've always felt that, but yeah, Emerson defensively is very sound. And in this game in particular, if they play the new boy Modric on that side, I think Emerson and Romero will do something to the guy. Sterling's on that side as well. Romero will touch him up. So it's like either way they go, Romero is touching somebody up first 10 minutes. And that's always the key man for you. So
yeah. So I'm fairly confident about tomorrow. I mean about Sunday's game. So yes, we'll look forward to that, and also look forward to seeing you on the live stream afterwards. This is
yeah,
Common Sports TV.
definitely.
For those of you who haven't subscribed, please go there, go to the channel, subscribe, share with your folks, and let them know about this as well. They want this to go, as many people as possible within the Spurs nation and beyond. If you love good football, or good football banter, we're here, and we've got a full house coming in on Sunday. But yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic, Chuma. Great, always having you.
Awesome.
It's awesome. And when I say come on, you Spurs, it's really, really come on, you Spurs. Thank you so much, Chuma. God bless you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Take care.
My pleasure.